people are asking, if at all I have to take Hustler Fund, only 500 Kenya shillings, how has it actually impacted on a person who doesn't have access to capital to start a business?
We've reached out to 26 million Kenyans. If that 500 shillings did not mean anything, then why would we reach out to 26 million Kenyans, making me even one of, if I were to be the bank, I'll be the biggest bank.
So where did this money come from?
Hustler Fund is public money, is appropriated through Parliament, and we get funded through the exchequer. So it's public money. And you ask about what are dealing with the defaulters. The good thing is that we have established credit profile. We know these people. We know where they are. It's digital. The unique identifies ID. So you cannot say you have refused to pay. Entrepreneur needs to reside in a supportive ecosystem, from capacity building, access to affordable credit, to access to market. And this year, around November, we'll be hosting, for example, the ESC Trade Fair. MSME Trade Fair. This is also just trying to introduce Kenyan MSME to the regional market in a year.
Well, welcome to the Power Table tonight. My name is Eugene Kwach, and of course, this is a deep conversation meant to enlighten you on issues that concern you as the citizen of this country. Well, tonight we have actually PS and Honorable SUSAN Mang'eni, the Principal Secretary for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development of Kenya, in Kenya, is actually joining us for this conversation. Well, a governance and development expert. She is, of course, for over so many years. And we have her here to dissect critical issues, actually, that are concerning you, the citizen of this country, and particularly those people who have been interested so much on the question of Hustler Fund. Well, she's the PS in charge of Hustler Fund. I'm told she needs no introduction. Well, welcome, PS, Madam PS.
Thank you, Eugene, and thank you for hosting me to this power show.
Yes.
And I'm happy to engage.
Yes. Thank you so much. First things first, before we begin, so many people ask, what is the difference between a PS and a CS in terms of their roles? How do they even work together?
So, I'm a principal secretary. I'm in charge of a state department, and I deal with program implementation. I'm the accounting officer. I'm also the authorized officer. So basically, I do day-to-day operation work of the ministry, and the CS provides the policy guidance at that level. Yes.
Interesting. And Madam PS, the last time we had a conversation with you, you were so passionate about the Kenya Kwanza government that was in the offing, actually. Now that you guys have served for some years, 2 years, 3 years, how do you assess?
3 years.
Yes. How do you assess the promise that your government made to Kenyans so far?
So we rode under the promise of uplifting the people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, and our development approach is bottom up. We want to prioritize, focusing at the bottom, seeing how do we mobilize people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, youth, women, and let's say all those marginalized people and vulnerable. Then how do we put them into a pipeline through which they can get to participate effectively in the economy? So where are we on that is that we are delivering. We've rolled out a number of initiatives which are people facing and which are geared towards uplifting people livelihoods and also giving opening up opportunities to the people at the bottom of the economic pyramid so that they can participate effectively, and then also seeing how do we widen the tax bracket so that we start easing the burden at the top of the pyramid. And so a number of initiatives that we've been rolling out, the key flagship projects, if you look at the bottom up, focuses on the 5 core pillars. Key pillars. The first pillar is agricultural productivity. We've done so much. We came in, and the first thing that under the guidance of His Excellency the President was to subsidize production. Remember him saying it will not be wise and is not sustainable to subsidize consumption. I mean reducing the prices of unga, but instead it's good to reduce the price of fertilizer so that then we can increase production there. So we've really, in terms of What has been achieved in that ends, we've been experiencing good yields ever since we started distributing affordable fertilizer with subsidized at a half price. And you can bear me witness that if you compare the last 2 years, the last 2 harvests, with what we had before, we have really increased in multifolds the yields. And you see, our economy is basically agricultural. The agriculture is the backbone of our economy. So even our industrial agenda also revolves in how much we are producing. So I think to that end, we've been able to meet that key promise. We also, our other core pillar was the MSME transformation of the MSME sector, and to that end I'll be coming now to specific, because I'm in charge of that sector, to see what we have achieved. The other one was universal access to universal healthcare, which you are achieving through SHA. And then also we're talking about affordable housing. Again, if you look all over, if you go across this country, you will meet all this construction. People are busy constructing, coming up with affordable housing. And then also we promised to establish superhighway and to about 100,000 kilometers of superhighway. We are right now in very good progress. So far we've covered close to 30,000 kilometers of that, and ensuring that we open up spaces, market spaces, so that then people can have access to free public Wi-Fi. And so, are we on track? Yes, we are on track, and we are achieving.
Interesting, because you've actually answered the question that I wanted to ask you about how far the bottom-up economic transformation agenda you have gone. But of course, the question on Wi-Fi, it's a question so many people would even want to ask, whether it really exists. But before we talk about that, the hashtag Ruto must go. There's been, you quite much understand the public sentiments that have been captured in such hashtags, Ruto must go, and there's a lot of criticism. Do you believe that President Ruto should continue serving Kenyans, and why?
Well, let me say, I don't want to comment about personal opinions, people's personal opinion, but from where I see it, and my own opinion and institutional that I oversee, I think President Ruto is going to turn out as the president that in Kenya who has delivered more than what even he bargained for, more than what he's promised. Because 2 years down the line, and I will say 2 years because we came in following the August election of 2022. And because this was a new a departure from the existing development approach, which was more like top-bottom, this was bottom-up. So we needed to align the system, we needed to align the processes. So it took us some time just to mainstream our development agenda and our vision to the existing system that were there. We needed to look for resources. We came in mid-year, mid of the financial year, so we did not begin with our own budget. So we found a budget that was already ongoing. And so we needed to sit down and plan. So the first year in office, it was a year of planning. In fact, if we were to measure on what we've been able to achieve, then we'll say President Ruto is even a genius. Because in a span of 1 year of now rolling out from planning, I think we're doing a lot of things happening. For example, President promised that he was going to launch Hustler Fund within 1 year, 100 days of his presidency. And indeed, to his word, we launched it in under 90 days. So that was a promise that was achieved. He said he achieved. He talked about rolling out affordable housing project. You can see them happening all over and creating opportunities for majority of people at the bottom of the economic pyramid. For example, today in my sector, Juakali sector, where I have these fundis and everybody, the affordable housing project has set aside close to 11 billion.
Okay.
Where now, ring fence 11 billion tenders to our juakalis through doors, through windows, and to hinges.
Okay.
So if you ask me, the question where some people, and let me tell you, I've come to realize that Kenya is we have a very interesting society.
Yes.
In fact, when you're achieving, that's when people are making noise. And when they make noise, I've come to realize that those noises are usually more pleased.
Okay.
You remember during President Kibaki, today we glorify the former president, and God rest his soul in peace. President Kibaki, during his time, majority of Kenyans even revolted against him. They even brought down his referendum. They defeated him. He's trying to reform. But today, who are singing praises of President Kibaki regime is the same Kenya.
People.
We had President Uhuru, and people did not see anything during those 10 years. They were saying they are doing nothing. Today, people say, oh, Uhuru had achieved this and that. So because we know that's part of our culture, only to start appreciating things after it has exited or after someone has exited, we know we are on the right track. So when you see those noises happening, for us, we interpret as saying, more please, this food is very nice. Please add me more. More, please. I have, additional appetite. Okay. So I think the president has achieved. And if you try to measure some of the things that he has been able to pull through, I just mentioned agriculture.
Yes.
People said it was not possible.
Yes, Madam
But today it's possible.
We will come to all that. But permit me to go directly to what the State Department which you lead.
Yeah.
You're the Principal Secretary for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development in Kenya. And this is a critical department because so many people, including the youth, including the women, are looking up to you in so many ways. Apart from the Hustler Fund project.
What is it you're doing?
Apart from the Hustler Fund project, what other projects do you guys have?
Eugene.
Yes.
So, I said the transformation of MSME sector is a pillar, is a better pillar, bottom-up economic transformation agenda pillar.
Yes.
And we committed that we are going to do a number of things. The first one, decriminalization of work, recognizing work, that every work matters, and making sure that our population are able to participate in the economy by unlocking their great potentials within their space, so that if you're for example, boda, if you're a mama mboga, you get supported through recognition and through providing decent working spaces and that. What is it that you're doing to that end? Number one, we have mainstreamed that and aligned the various actors, including, for example, the county governments across the country. And today you will agree with me, it's been long since you had the running battles between City Kanjo and then our MSME, because people now, authorities are becoming more responsive to the needs of MSME, and they're getting to appreciate the role that MSME plays in our economy and in generation of revenue.
Yes.
You've seen many county governments also identifying trading spaces and setting up decent stalls and coming up with an organization.
Yes.
Reorganizing the setup of their town so that we can coexist well. Our MSMEs can coexist well with within those spaces.
Yes.
We made a commitment also to look at various policies and see which policies, and carry out some major policy reforms to ease to enable the ease of doing business, and then also to make sure that we remove so many regulatory requirements. Today, as we speak, a county like Nairobi County, because of that conversation, which used to experience multiple licenses, and for you to start up a business, you need probably even 14 different licenses. They have collapsed that into a single permit regime. So meaning you do not need to go working from one office to another and incurring additional cost that make your entry into business become difficult. We also looking at harmonizing licenses so that, and especially across the country. So if you are, let's say, moving goods from one county to another, you don't need to start experiencing those other additional costs. Because these are MSMEs, we're supposed to promote inter-county trades and in intra-country trade.
Yes.
So let me just talk about some of the, so that was, we're also looking at our policy.
Yeah.
Today as we speak, we are at the tail end of finalizing our MSME policy review, so that then we can also align it to existing, to the emerging opportunities, and see also how do we, which strategies can we use, can we have to address some of the persistent challenges that affect MSME. So we are reviewing the MSME policy of 2020. So this year we are going to come up with a new comprehensive policy that takes care of the space of MSME, and especially under these new commitments. We are also coming up with other policies like financial inclusion. We are we are finalizing on the startup bill, so we create a framework for financing the startups in this country. This has been a major opportunity facing young people. Most young people are creative, they're innovative, they're coming up with ideas, but we did not have a conducive policy framework that can help them advance the innovation to the next level, even take it to the market. We also promise to unlock access to financing, and that's how Hustler Fund now comes in. And the key issues that we were looking at is to correct market failure in the credit market that made it difficult for people at the bottom of the economic pyramid who don't own means of production. By means of production, I mean they don't own land. I mean they don't have land ownership, so they don't have title deed, and they're not employed because of the high unemployment, so they don't have a pay slip which they can commit to a financial institution. And then also because they're looked, the banks, the commercial bank or the mainstream financing sector always perceive them as high risk. It means they have low social capital, so they cannot even get a guarantor who can guarantee them to access credit facility. So how are we doing this? By trying to, we created a platform, number one, which provides rehabilitation of credit rating of our people, so that then and secondly, you remember majority of Kenyans were also in CRB. So we needed to give them a second chance to them to rehabilitate their credit rating, repair it, so that then eventually they can go back and participate effectively in the economy. But also we've given them an experience where they've been able to create, you know, like to mobilize, not even mobilizing, to establish the credit history and the credit visibility, to become more visible in the credit market. Because through the Hustler Fund experience, you get to leave behind the footprint, the data footprint, in as far as your credit behavior is concerned. That credit footprint, data footprint on your credit behavior is very important, because it builds you and know your customer, what the banks call the KYC, that can now enable the customer, the banks in the private sector to start to give you a fair assessment of creditworthiness. We've done that. Let me just finish on that. Why are we doing this? Because since majority of our people do not have access to means of production, eventually we want to revolutionize the collateral system in this country, start moving it from the hard collaterals that I call the title deeds, the pay slip and stuff, towards your credit behavior, because everybody has a behavior which he or she can form it around to fit in what is desired in the market. So that element of just borrowing and repaying will demonstrate your behavior, and you get trusted in the market. Next time when you go to borrow, then you will start borrowing against your credit rating. This is very important for us as a society. If we can get to embrace a good credit culture, then it's going to be a good step towards pushing us to developing our society. Why? In most developed economies like Europe and the US, those countries, people are beholden to their credit rating. They have a very good culture. And yes, cash economy is there, but in some economies, even if you had lots of cash, you cannot purchase something if your credit rating is very low, because that's accessible to everybody. Then we also promise to open up markets and create market linkages, because an entrepreneur needs to reside in a supportive ecosystem, from capacity building, access to affordable credit, to access to market. To that end, we're doing a lot. And this year, around November, we'll be hosting, for example, the ESC Trade Fair. MSME Trade Fair. This is also just trying to introduce Kenyan MSME to the regional market in a ESC. And then also we are now also promoting a conversation on how to access and unlock access to FCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area. Those opportunities, those enhanced opportunities.
Quite much interesting.
So there's quite a lot that within 1,000 days that everybody's talking about that has been achieved. And it's only a genius that can achieve this.
Quite interesting, actually, because there are other projects you've not talked about. Nyota project, for example. It's also under you.
It's also under me, but I was looking at the key bucket areas, like when we talk about access to finance, we needed to give people experience, and even the kind of experience on patient capital. So as we nurture the credit, we incubate the credit behavior and the financial inclusion, we come up with a number of projects with our partners, World Bank. We have Nyota project, we have KJET. We have quite a number of projects that we are running around.
You've talked about so many projects, actually, and perhaps people are asking that these projects, you talk about them, why is it that so many people do not understand about them? Is there maybe...
I think, Eugene. Thank you. People do understand.
Strategies, because is there maybe strategies that you guys have designed, maybe, that are quite... even
I think, let me say this, I have seen people ask, what is it that we've done for Mama Mboga? What is it that we've done for MSME? Let me ask you. Right now, we have got modern markets being constructed across the country. Aren't those facilities for Mama Mboga? Modern market with cold storage facilities. We are looking at 272 markets. When we say we are going to support Mama Mboga so that Mama Mboga can have a space where they can trade and have guaranteed market, are in those modern markets.
Another question actually that they ask on the same is on this Hustler Fund. Because people are asking, if at all I have to take Hustler Fund, only 500 Kenya shillings, how has it actually impacted on a person who doesn't have capital, access to capital, to start a business? And they can only access maybe 500, maybe 1,000, or even 2,000. How is this going to help the common man, the hoi polloi, to start up a business?
It's very interesting that people ask, what is it going to help us? But if you look at in terms of the circulation and the disbursement which we have, it means the people outside there who are accessing this. Today,
it was meant for businesses.
Today, as we speak, listen, today is a financial inclusion intervention. And I already spoken about what you're trying to achieve through that, in terms of even policy, in terms of correcting market failure, the collateral, and moving people from hard collaterals to soft collateral. And, we have even 5% mandatory saving. Most of the people that are benefiting on Hustler Fund, equally, they are also saving. So today, where are we on Hustler Fund? We've reached out to 26 million Kenyans. If that 500 shillings did not mean anything, then why would we reach out to 26 million Kenyans, making me even one of, if I were to be the bank, I'll be the biggest bank. Hustler Fund will be the biggest bank probably in the region, or probably even sub-Saharan Africa, having 26 million beneficiaries, who will be one of the biggest banks.
So we have 26.
Secondly, we've disbursed close to 71 billion today as we speak in personal loan product, the one which we started off, and then also in the bridge product. So those combined plus group loan, our total disbursement is about 71 billion. We've been able to mobilize savings, mandatory saving to almost 4.5 billion. And then, of course, we introduced voluntary savings some time back, and it's, is also gaining momentum. We are looking at almost 500 million that has been saved again. If Hustler Fund 500 shillings meant nothing, then we'll not be having these numbers. Secondly, thirdly, now we have people, because the experience of Hustler Fund was speaking to your behavior. So your limit will grow. So the best limit when we started was 500 shilling, that those people who will borrow even up to 3,000. But we had a limit of up to 50,000. So, but to achieve 50,000, as you borrow and you repay, you borrow, you grow your limit. You grow your limit to enhance. Today, as we speak, we have people who have grown their limit on personal loan up to 50,000. So there are people who started at 500 shilling, and because of now borrowing and repaying and demonstrating good borrowing behavior, they have shoot the limit to 50,000. And because we saw some of them had even hit the maximum limit of 50,000, we introduced a product called Bridge. So those ones who have demonstrated good borrowing behavior, they can now borrow 3 times. Today, as we speak, we have people who are borrowing up to 150,000, having grown the limit from 500 shillings.
Let me ask you, Madam Pierce, a question that so many people will actually want to know. Where did you get the funds to start the Hustler Fund? Because people were asking you, the government came at a point where there was no funds, according to the then Deputy President and some people from the government. So where did this money come from to be taken to the Hustler Fund? Where did all this money come from?
Well, I really, I'm trying so much so that I don't get into issues which I have no control. But I'll say Hustler Fund is public money, is appropriated through Parliament, and we get funded through the Exchequer. So it's public money that we have put in there. But we running the initiative in partnership with the private sector, and talking about the banks, and because it's a digital fund, in terms of the disbursement, we have to leverage on our telcos, our 3 telcos, Safaricom, Airtel, and Telecom. They're the ones who are helping us with disbursement. But the money we have injected in is public money.
Okay. Maybe you could tell us, being told, you could tell us about the challenges, some of the challenges that the department has maybe is undergoing as you try to maybe bring up impactful projects as they are. Because honestly, I've been going through what your state department does. And there's several quite projects with names. There's Kazimaju also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but some of these
quickly,
things,
maybe
some of these impactful projects, people don't know about them. Maybe you could tell us what you're doing to ensure that even a person at the village understands about these critical issues that you guys have. So, and also, you also be talking about Kazimaju.
You see, one MSME, first of all, is cross-cutting.
Yes.
And we are in each and every sector because we focus on creating enterprises in every opportunity that we come across. So we work together with the other sectors. For example, agriculture is where we generate most of our business ideas because it's the backbone of our economy. Affordable housing, like I had indicated, is giving our MSMEs, especially in Jiwakali sector, the fundis and everything, an opportunity to do business, giving them access to market to supply, building and those construction materials. And also is giving labor to some of our MSME, who come together and they're able to do some of those jobs, either through contracts and stuff. So we are cross-cutting in each and every sector. If you go to the digital sector, digital superhighway and ICT sector, young people are there. They're coming up with startup ideas and all those. If you go to health,
LIPA POLEPOLE.
we are supporting access to this facility that will enable you not to miss out to SHA, the premium cover, because if you have demonstrated a good borrower, then you can go to Hustler Fund platform and borrow and pay for the whole year so that you start LIPA ring us. You start paying us polepole. Nyota, is a project that focuses on forming entrepreneurs. Let me use the word forming because it's a formation of entrepreneurs. We have a business support component there, which is being implemented through our ministry and my agent's Micro Small Enterprise Authority. And the objective is to support the formation of at least 70 entrepreneurs in each and every ward. It's a project that is going to focus on all the 1,450 wards across the country. We target 70 young people between the ages of 18 to 29 and up to 35 years if they have if they are persons with disability. And after taking them through a comprehensive training program, we are going to grant them with at least 50,000 shillings so that they can take idea to the next level. We hope that this will be the next level entrepreneurs, and we just started a pipeline which will start channeling out even industrialists.
Thank you.
It is an ecosystem kind of support program,
yes,
where we identify your ideas, but then we put you to exist within an ecosystem, your capacity building, you get mentored, you get coached, you get counseled, and then you can now be linked up to opportunities. We're looking at Kenya Jobs Economic Transformation Agenda. This is a project now, it's focused to building competitiveness of businesses, especially by young people. And we're looking at targeted sectors of high growth. For example, certain agricultural value chain like edible oil, dairy, leather, tea, coffee, all those building and construction, sector where we think they have got high returns. This is where we want now to direct our young people. And we're being so much deliberate about this because we want to focus on those sectors that can help us generate jobs. So that these young people will not just create their own jobs, but create competitive jobs even for others. So all these programs that we are having, including the Center for Entrepreneurship, which we're implementing with the German government, the KfW, facility from there, which is focused on skilling, coming up, channeling out a workforce that is to support industrial growth and also to support entrepreneurship.
Okay. Thank you so much. We are coming to the close of this conversation, but maybe you will tell us how do you measure the success of all these programs? You've said it's now MSMEs related programs, quite a number. But how do you measure how impactful they are to the people that they have been meant for? So
quickly, let me answer you in this manner. We have a potential workforce of 20 million Kenyans. 3.5 million are formally employed. Around 17 million are in the informal sector, doing their own thing just to survive. They're in some sort of a lottery. They have their own jobs, like probably yourself, even you're doing this. Maybe nobody has employed you, but you're just doing your own things, so can enable you do that. Now, so we exist to see how do we support those people in the informal sector to access affordable credit. And you see like an initiative like Hustler Fund. Today we have about 9 million who are repeat borrowers, out of which 4.5 million have demonstrated good borrowing behavior based on the scale. We have a Hustler Fund rating system, which is a 9-band, which rates our beneficiaries from A to, and assign them scores from A to C. So we have A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. At the end of this program, I'll be seeking to know what is your score. So if you are score rating in A,
and maybe you'll have a message for those who have refused to pay Hustler Fund.
And if you are rating in C, you require some bit of improvement. So because of that, we're able now to come up with targeted measures. Those who are doing well, we incentivize them to access higher credit limit. For example, I said that those who started with 500, today they can access 150,000, and they have been able also to save. So those are some of the success that we measure. We look at how have you been able to grow your limit. Have you grown your limit in multifold? It shows you're succeeding, and you must be investing in something. These are the projects that you're carrying out. Now, Hustler Fund is also a credit card.
Okay.
and which has really supported Kenyans and
Okay.
is pulling them out of the abject poverty. We've been able to accord Kenyans a very decent and decent way of accessing credit, because it's only you with your phone.
Okay.
You don't have to go to your neighbor, cry out all your problems, expose yourself, and then after that, people tell you, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
I don't have this to support you.
Yes.
So you see, if you can borrow and meet your needs at any given time,
Yes.
you know, that's really being impactful.
Yes.
So I know time is not on our side in
Yes.
this program, but I'll be available again. Maybe if we arrange to come here and just be specific on what we think we are doing for our MSME. And you ask about what are dealing with the defaulters. The good thing is that we have established credit profile. We know these people. We know where they are. It's digital. A unique identifies ID. So you cannot say you have refused to pay. Refusing to pay what you have borrowed, and especially if you are having public money, is a misappropriation of public resources. And remember, you still need opportunities. You still need to be linked up to opportunities. So you cannot say, I have refused to pay. You'd rather say, I don't even have means to pay. But if you say, we borrowed, will not pay, we'll just catch up with you. Mkono ya serikali ni mrefu.
Quite interesting. Madam PS has an interesting parting shot to the defaulters of the Hustler Fund. I'm told time is over, and of course, thank you so much, Madam PS. We'll plan again another conversation
and
where
we'll
we'll get to delve deeply into these issues. But of course, this has been indeed quite an engaging, intriguing conversation. There's a lot of questions I had for Madam PS, but because of time, we'll have to ask them another time. It has been indeed a great conversation. My name is Eugene Kwach. This has been the Power Table. And of course, we've had the Power PS. Madam,
thank you.
SUSAN Mang'eni.
I'm humble.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Asante
and I look
sana.
forward to another round of Power Talks.
Thank you so much.
And when that time comes, I hope your credit score, I don't know, you refuse to check your credit score.
Yeah,
I want to see if you borrowed Hustler Fund or if you're also discussing things which you're not.
Unfortunately, I'll start borrowing Hustler Fund. I'll start taking Hustler Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam
Asante.
PS. Asante.
Yeah.